What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Kevin with Optimized Essentials, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the masculinity crisis and how to cure it through semen retention. Okay, now before I get into this video, I do want to make some announcements. Two announcements more specifically. There is a new Facebook group that I created called Sexual Transmutation Mastery. If you are a guy, specifically a guy that is looking into nofap or semen retention, or are curious about this topic and want to join a group of like-minded individuals where you will receive positivity, inspiration, knowledge, high-level knowledge on how to transmute your sexual energy, you want to make sure you check out that Facebook group right over here. And then the second thing is, if you are interested in improving your knowledge, deepening your knowledge on how to actually do sexual transmutation, I do have some free trainings on what sexual transmutation is. It is a program called Sexual Manifestation. You can check out the first part of that program for free in the links down below. And then also, if you're ready to invest and you want to go deep right off the bat and you know for sure this is what you want to get into, because you want to learn from someone who's done semen retention and successfully transmuted his sexual energy multiple times. My streaks are 13 months, 11 months, and 11 months. So I have like 3, 4, 5 plus cumulative years of semen retention experience. And I will teach you the secrets of how to transmute your sexual energy successfully. Check out the full version and get ready to rock and roll, baby. Okay, so with all that being said, let me get into the masculinity crisis and why I think semen retention is a cure. I have some notes down and I want to read what I wrote because I want to make sure this is as clear and concise as possible, okay? So let's get right into it. The same way people experience a midlife crisis because the way they're living is causing a deep sense of unfulfillment is very similar to how men at large are experiencing a masculinity crisis, okay? We have boys in adult bodies who don't understand what it means to take responsibility. Responsibility for their life, responsibility for their friends, their family, for other people, responsibility for the community, for the world, okay? Men who want to be told what to do, or should I say men who need to be told what to do. Men who get women pregnant and are scared of taking responsibility, so they run away, leaving the woman raising the child as a single mom, which only perpetuates the cycle. And because most men nowadays aren't sure of what to do in life, they often feel lost, confused, and hopeless. This is because he is not in alignment with his masculine energy. In a sense, the crisis, the masculinity crisis, can be summed up as misdirected masculine energy. Not knowing what to do with their primal masculine urges, they direct it and use it in all of the wrong ways. Constantly playing video games, constantly doing drugs, constantly watching pornography, consuming copious amounts of food to numb the pain, chasing women, buying things they don't need, indulging in vices, and just wasting their life away. When a man's energy isn't directed towards a higher purpose, it gets wasted on low-level behavior and meaningless activities. This then produces inwardly directed emotions of pain and suffering, hopelessness, feelings of inadequacy, self-sabotage, and the list of toxicity goes on and on and on, okay? In my opinion, this is the real toxic masculinity, right? We hear a lot of the term toxic masculinity get tossed around, but people don't really understand what it means to have toxic masculinity, okay? I'll break down my version of it so that you can kind of get a better idea of whether or not you believe this is true, right? Masculinity that doesn't get properly expressed is what I consider toxic masculinity. The same way if you eat too much junk food or meat and have undigested proteins in your gut, or have heavy metal toxicities, a lot of pesticides and inflammatory agents, vegetable oils, shit that you don't want to put into your body, the same way it rots and sits in your gut and festers, the same way that becomes toxicity in your body is the same way if you don't express your masculinity, it becomes toxic, right? And instead of like expressing it outward, sometimes it gets inwardly, it festers inwardly, emotionally, right? As feelings of inadequacy, not feeling good enough, not feeling like you're important, you're valuable, you're significant, not feeling like you have a strong grasp on life. And as a result, this can lead to feelings of depression, anxiety, worthlessness, and sometimes it might get expressed on other people as passive aggressiveness or behaviors that just are grimy, you know, or shady, you know? And this is what I see as toxic masculinity. Masculinities that is not expressed properly turns into toxic masculinity, okay? I think the mainstream population, their idea of toxic masculinity is kind of misconstrued. They think Andrew Tate is an example of toxic masculinity. Quite the opposite. I think quite the opposite. Some people believe Andrew Tate is, you know, poor, arrogant, shitty male, but I actually think he's a funny guy. I think he speaks a lot of truth. I think he is very entertaining. Is he the best role model? Probably not, but he does have very good points. He does have a lifestyle that most men aspire to have unconsciously. And quite frankly, most of the men and women that are attacking him, in my opinion, look like the ones that are toxic. That is toxic masculinity or femininity. Feminists are examples of toxic femininity, right? Men who are, what are they called? Doomers or incels or like black pill, purple pill, coomers or stuff like that. I think that's more of an example of toxic masculinity. And that type of toxic masculinity, people don't even notice them. They don't really, they're like nobodies, you know what I'm saying? So people's idea of toxic masculinity is kind of misconstrued and messed up, okay? So now let's get into the solution, okay? Why do I believe semen retention is the cure to the masculinity crisis? Because it all starts with the foundation, right? If you are into the chakra system, the root chakra, the sacral chakra, it's the solar plexus, these lower energy centers are the foundation of your being. They are the foundation of your life. Energy is the foundation of your life. If a man is constantly leaking energy down below, right? When they say, I think it was one of the Hindu scriptures or teachings is when a man ejaculates, he loses touch of his roots, right? When a man constantly ejaculates and he's leaking energy down below, he's constantly stimulating himself, constantly stroking the monkey, firing the John Wayne, right? Constantly blowing a load. He is depleting his most precious form of life force. This is vital fluid. This is Jing. This is the energy that sustains the body. This is the energy that keeps the body alive, right? When you keep blowing your load, when you keep wasting your energy, and you have a shitty diet, you have a lack of nutrients, you're malnourished, what you are doing is you are zapping your nervous system. You are literally puncturing a hole and just like dripping water down. Like if you're a boat and you just poked holes on the boat, eventually the hole is going to sink. Eventually you're going to die, right? When you constantly blow a load, when you constantly ejaculate, you're going to become weak. I always talk about weakness in men, right? Men want to become strong. It's inborn within us to be competent, to want to be able to be of service, to want to be valuable, to be useful, to have a skill set, right? But when that energy becomes misdirected and it gets thrown into things that don't matter, like porn, drugs, and video games, or vices, consuming food, right? What this does is it causes a bunch of blockages, stagnation, and energy loss, Jing loss, vital fluid loss in the bottom portions of our body, right? And because this energy never gets to build up, it never gets to get developed, it never gets to rise, right? Kundalini rising the Kundalini, raising your Kundalini. Because this energy never gets a chance to fully build up and it never gets a chance to be purified, a lot of men suffer from misdirected masculine energy. And because of this energy never is like half-baked, right? It's again, weak. It's impotent. It's like a man's penis that can't get erect, right? If a guy can't get erect, that means there's something off about his system. There's something wrong or off about his energy, right? Think about that. You're impotent. You can't get an erection. Well, energetically speaking, when your masculine energy is depleted, is haywire, is off, it's imbalanced, it's chaotic, and it's misdirected, then that energy never really gets to express itself. And when it's being blown all over the place, when it's getting poisoned by the food you eat, when it gets dull by all the video games you spend it on, all the, drugs and alcohol you consume, when this happens, this energy is tarnished. And it leads to feelings of anxiety, helplessness, confusion, loss, like I'm not just living up to my potential. And when men experience that, it becomes suffering in their life, right? They don't know what to do. They're confused. They're unsure of the way ahead because there isn't enough oomph to get the spirit erect. There isn't enough energy and vital fluid in the body to have drive, to have courage, to have ambition, to have a desire to take action towards the things that actually matter. And when this happens, there is, in a sense, a crisis, right? People have midlife crises because they've been living in a way that's not congruent with the intentions that they came here to live, right? Maybe they spent 20, 30 years doing a dead-end job, a 9-to-5 job, and they fucking hate their life. Now they have a midlife crisis. Well, similarly, a man, when he is not expressing his potential as a man, when he's not developing his masculinity, when he's not directing his primal urges, sex, competency, the drive to be a better man, when he's not directing his energy towards things that actually matter, they get used on things that don't matter. They get used on meaningless activities, mindless activities, and the energies of life get wasted. And as a result, that creates chaos and problems in the psyche. And when a man doesn't repair this, he starts to go into crisis mode, right? And he uses food, uses drugs, porn, and video games to numb this because he's not willing to figure out, why do I feel this way? How can I improve my masculinity? How can I go from a boy to an adult? How can I initiate myself into manhood? In the past, they used to have rites of passages. I'm probably gonna have a video up by the time I start filming this on modern day rites of passages for men. So check out my channel and look for that. And then also why you can unlock your masculinity with semen retention, okay? So back to what I was saying though. When they have undeveloped potential, when they don't know how to use this energy to improve themselves, they end up numbing themselves with all these vices, which only makes the problem worse, right? So the way you can combat all of this is to start at the foundation, start at the root, right? The foundation is sexual energy, creative energy, life force energy. Men are driven by their desire, their sex drive, to make things happen, right? They want to have sex, they want to reproduce, they want to please a woman, but because most guys can't do that, they end up turning to porn and beating the meat, and this depletes them. This is like the biggest energy leak that I talk about in my program. It is the biggest form of energy leak. And until you plug this energy leak, guess what? You're going to keep depleting yourself of life force energy, and you're going to feel weak and impotent. Your spirit isn't going to burn. It's not going to be on fire. When you plug this energy leak, this is the start. You can take control of your sexual energy, feel that primal urge, that primal drive that you have as a man, allow it to build up in your being so that it compels you to take action, so that you can change and direct your life in the direction that you want it to go. The same way you see a pretty girl and you want to have sex with her, the same way you see something that you want, a car, a shirt, a pair of shoes, and you really want it, that energy can be harnessed, right? You can transmit your sexual desire, you can transmit your sexual urge towards achieving success, towards obtaining the hopes, dreams, the goals, the desires that you want. And all you have to do is to plug that energy leak, stop busting a nut, stop playing with your wee-wee, and then that energy will naturally express itself in other ways if your energies aren't blocked. It will turn that primal desire that you have, because you've stopped the urge, right? And you're allowing to build up, that urge will want to express itself somehow. And if you can successfully control that dragon, it's going to rise up your spine and you're going to finally feel that masculine drive, that masculine power that you know deep down inside you have. You just need to allow it to build up and you just need to give it a better outlet, okay? Now guys, this was probably a long video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, drop them down below. Help boost the algorithm and subscribe to the channel for more.